Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and today we're going back to our Showgirl palette, which really is a fun, vibrant palette. Today we're featuring the canpol flower vase in the dark pink color, and then we're also utilizing the Oasis Renewal Foam. That is a plant-based foam made from renewable resources. But to start off with, what we're going to do is create a sheltering. Okay.
Sorry, it just looks weird.
Yep. To start off with, we're going to utilize this piece of Italian ruscus to create a really dramatic curve. And so on here, what I'm going to do is start looking from the back side, and I'm going to remove some of the crossing lines and the foliages on the back side that are going to kind of interrupt that great line. And so you see where we started and then where we ended up. Now I'm going to come down here and cut that here. I'm going to insert this all the way to this piece here. So that bottom leaf structure is going to go down into the foam. That will ensure it that it's not going to turn. So I'm going to utilize this foam with the elongated way there and just come in and then bring that all the way in, and you can see the great line that that creates. Now, if you do want it to curve a little bit more, you can just massage it a little bit with your hands, but I really feel like that's a great strong line. Now in the Showgirl theme, what we're going to do is use some Pincushion Proteas to be our focal flowers. And so we're going to place those right away. And we want them in an area of dominance that'll come, your eye will come down into. And I'm going to put a focal point down below, but you can see how we've taken those showpiece pincushions and really made a statement happen with them. Then the contrasting color, and to pick up some of the color that we see in the container, we're going to come in with some of these roses, and going to do 2 of those up on top, and how they stair step down. Similar to the other 2 pieces, and then I'm going to use one low that goes into the focal area, and this is going to create that area of dominance, the focal area that lives right above the lip of our container. So we want to take a look at where that line is coming in, and then get that rose down into an area of dominance. So you can see how that works together to come in. Then to finish off our line, we're going to take a couple more pieces of this Italian ruscus. And so this has a cutoff end, but you can see how that completes our line there. And then I'm going to add one to the back to kind of and to give me a little bit more depth on it. I'll save these other little pieces to come back in with some of our areas that need a little bit more repetition. I've got a couple of the green trick dianthus, and that is going to work really well for basing. So you can see how that finishes that off, and it provides that contrast texture. And here you can see how your eye draws throughout that composition, adding that depth and dimension through that design. So our next strongest piece is going to be these orange spray roses. And I've got a couple longer shoots, so I'm going to be able to take a couple of those and utilize them on the base, and then I can create a little bit more of a linear element with the top of the spray rose and have that come up in this area here. And then think about how your eye moves. And then we're going to come down into this area here. So you see, got that orange coming back and forth. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this premium spray rose and leave one on that main stem. And then I've got a couple side shoots. So this one here can come down into this area there. And then I'm going to just reinforce our focal. Bringing that down in. So now you can see how that orange spray rose really enhances the two Showgirl Pincushion Protea that we have in our focal area. Next, I'm going to come in just with a couple magenta carns. And you can see these carns are a little bit tighter. So I'm actually going to rip the calyx on this, making sure that I don't pull the petals out of their base. But you can see how I'm able to get a lot more coverage on these just by ripping that calyx. Does not decrease the life of the flower, but it definitely helps when I'm using these as basing. It's going to give me a lot more coverage. And I love carnations and some of the deep, rich multi-tones that they come in. And so we're going to place two of them together and kind of make a hydrangea. So it's going to be like a hydrangea type look by placing those couple together there. You can see how great that is. And then a couple down deep right in front here. How those two come together. And then we just have a couple textural elements that we're going to add. Some of the lady's mantle and a little bit of the naked seated uke. And this will just add a little bit more of a draping effect, reinforcing our focal area. And then I can bring it up here with our focal, and you can see how that pulls back and forth. Just adding a little piece there. Remember, I have a couple of these side shoots of the Italian ruscus that I took off the back side. So we want to layer those together and just put an insertion in. So rather than doing one at a time, what I'm doing is layering some of those together. I'm going to give it one cut and then figure out where I need some coverage. And same kind of thing with this here. But being able to do that one stronger insertion and not add additional labor to putting in each of those one at a time, then it makes it valuable to be able to use all those little bits. So you can also save them for your corsage and boutonniere work. And then we're just going to extend on. So just give us a little bit more of a garden look, and that'll come in with some of this lady's mantle. We'll just give a little bit more fresh look through here, help to kind of pull out the coloration that we have in that green trick dianthus. So just taking one piece and cutting it up, leaving it on that main stem if possible, and then just adding in some of those pieces, and it's kind of adds that whimsical feeling in that we see coming out of that Showgirl design. So right here, you can see it's more of a statement design that you can put in your cooler, something a little bit more original. You have a conversation piece, having those tropicals in there, and you can show them and talk to the vibrant colors that we see in the Showgirl color palette. I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and I hope I inspired you to create some fabulous florals.